I'm Julianna Dauble, and I love Representative Assembly, or RA. Being a delegate to RA can be overwhelming because business moves fast. So this video is to prepare delegates for the action and business of RA so that you can understand what's happening and be fully engaged. RA can be exciting and fun if you choose to be active, so we're here to help you. To start off, do your homework before arriving. Your binder has lots of important pieces of information. We're going to start with the order of business, or the meeting agenda itself, which is behind tab 1. This is what we will be doing throughout the course of RA. I suggest you read it over and make notes in the margins to ask local leaders to clarify anything you might have questions about. We must adopt the standing rules before getting down to business. The standing rules outline how business will be conducted. If there are amendments to standing rules, you will find this at the end of your tab, and this is one of the very first things we will debate before moving on the agenda. For example, last year we had a standing rule amendment brought forward by our own Becca Ritchie, which removed the requirement that you must bring your driver's license to vote. So this was a nice, easy way to make being a delegate easier when it comes time to do elections. All right, the next section you will find is our Constitution and Bylaws. Constitution and Bylaws outlines the operational protocols for how WA operates throughout the year. If there are proposed amendments to this document, we will debate the amendments, then vote on these by secret ballot at the same time that we vote on statewide officers. The election schedule is also in your first tab, so you'll know when that secret ballot process is happening. Next in your binder are the proposed new business items that members have submitted to WA before the RA begins. They're in green paper. Notice at the bottom of each of these pre-filed MBIs, you will see if the WA Board of Directors took a position. They either have said do pass or do not pass. If you see some items that say do or do not pass and you wonder why, you can ask your board director for the reasoning behind this pre-assessment. All right, the NBIs take the majority of the floor debate during RA, and they range in topics for everything related to public schools. We discuss things like institutional racism, nutrition services, teacher certification, school discipline, a state bank to help with public education funding. There are many, many interesting issues that come up within NBIs. We're going to walk you through writing an NBI a little bit later on in this video, but know that there are 4 outcomes that can happen when a delegate submits an NBI. It can either pass the floor of the body, which means WA will do what the NBI states. It can fail, which means try again next year. It can also be referred to committee, and this means that a small group of WA leaders will take a look at it and make some recommendations and perhaps implement the business that has been written. Also, the chair occasionally can rule an NBI out of order, which means that it doesn't fit with either the WA stance or it just is inappropriate at this time. The final, most important of possibly all of these is the continuing resolution section. This is a key info resource if you're going to be writing new business items yourself. As you dig into this section, notice that there are subheadings that can help you reference certain areas of our resolutions later on. For example, the section A concerns education in general. Section A7 specifically is the stance that WEA has taken on standardized tests. Continuing resolutions are what WA stands for. So these are statements of belief. These are our philosophy, and this really is the guiding principles behind the work of the association. There are amendments to the resolutions document. They will be at the end of this section. And some amendments are brand new sections. We call those new resolutions. Others are amendments to existing continuing resolutions. A few things to note about this section is you'll see in parentheses after each item RA dash and then some numbers. Those numbers indicate the years that this continuing resolution was added or the years in which it was amended. All right. There will be additional reports in the back of your binder related to governance, related to budget and finance. There's committee reports, membership reports, and there's a report on just what exactly came of the NBIs that were passed last year. This report on the progress of new business items can help you understand the direction and the desires of our members from the past year, as well as help you know what WEA has been doing. All right, so what if you decide that the continuing resolutions document that governs WEA's actions could use your expertise? So unlike an NBI that's action-focused, it often lasts only a year, a resolution is a lasting belief, and these require careful wording and often research. Often amendments to our resolutions fail because they are too specific or temporary in nature. Resolutions guide our lobbyists and they guide the WEA board's actions to influence decisions between representative assemblies. If you have an idea for a new resolution or an amendment to an existing resolution, we recommend that you work with your council's governance to get assistance in writing and passing new language. The process is similar to submitting an NBI, but requires a different form. These forms can be difficult to fill out because, unlike a resolution that you may have seen in other organizations, the intent section of the WEA form is limited to 25 words, and this section contains the information that is usually the whereas statements in other resolutions. The therefore be it resolved section that you see in other resolutions is called recommendations on the WEA form, and this is what would be placed in the continuing resolutions document if it passes the floor of RA. So we have for you an example of a continuing resolution amendment that will be submitted to this year's 2017 RA. It was an idea from the Sparks event at the Rainier Uniserve Council, and our Rainier Uniserve Council President Jeb Binns brought forward the idea to the WEA Badass Teachers Caucus Chair. Becca Ritchie, combed through the resolutions and found where it fit. So the proposed amendment fits in section CRB1. It reads, adding section 13. Time provided to special services educators and general education educators to collaborate regarding individual education programs. The wording on this was very carefully done so that it encompasses our paraeducators as well as classroom teachers. And because it is section 13, it is a new addition, you will need to go to that section yourself and read the context for why that resolution fits there. The intent section for this resolution states, this will include brief language that addresses the need for collaboration between special service educators and general education educators. Again, the intent section must be limited to 25 words. The forms themselves are now easy to find. We will show you that on the next screen. At this point, we hope that you feel comfortable and confident navigating your binder and understanding a little bit more about how to write an NBI. Thank you for watching. So let's get down to business. Many members, upon reading the continuing resolutions, realize they have expert insight or strong opinions about an issue that WEA stands for. So what can we do? Well, as a delegate, you can write an NBI. An NBI puts into action our continuing resolutions. Many of us delegates are appalled by the confirmation of Betsy DeVos as Secretary of Education. And with our anger, we often get very big ideas. These ideas aren't always rooted within a structure within WEA. So let's take some of these ideas and talk about them. What can we do about DeVos? I think it would be great if WEA could replace her with an education ally. Unfortunately, we don't have that kind of power. If we did, she wouldn't have been confirmed in the first place. So let's keep thinking. Could WEA block DeVos physically from entering our members' work sites? No, DeVos has a legal standing to enter our public schools. What about asking for WEA to direct all of our local presidents to write letters of opposition and require their members to sign on to these letters? then we could flood our elected leaders' offices with letters voicing our discontent. Can this be done? Well, no. WEA cannot mandate locals to do actions of this kind, just as local associations cannot mandate members to do actions. What can WEA do? Well, we can provide resources for locals who wish to launch a letter writing campaign. WEA could, by postage, provide templates or speaking points to encourage locals to do this kind of action. At this time, however, we don't know what policy changes DeVos will actually push for, so this idea probably needs to wait until we have concrete examples of her working contrary to our association's beliefs. Another route, though, an MBI could take is to make buttons or stickers or t-shirts, other messaging ideas to express our discontent. Now, if you wanted to go this route, you need to be prepared to deal with cost and understand that many members won't support their dues dollars going towards producing these items. So, I'm going to model writing an MBI that addresses our outrage against DeVos in a way that will educate delegates for next year so that we may take more drastic actions specifically based on what DeVos and her department actually do. So we need to temper our anger and take our big ideas and work with them in a way that we can actually fit them into the power structure that we have in our association. So I combed through our continuing resolutions, keeping DeVos in mind. There are many, many areas where I know her policy agenda will be in opposition, but specifically Section C5 in our resolution document pertains to corporatization, privatization, or subcontracting. If you wish to read this, it is on page 14 in your binder in the pink tab, and you can see there's many areas in which what we know DeVos stands for conflicts with our values. So next I thought back to an NEA NBI Rep Assembly in 2014, and at that time the floor of the body did approve an NBI requesting or calling for Arne Duncan to resign. Now, this was worded in such a way that we were able to capture Arne Duncan's failed education agenda and speak specifically to his policies. Again, we can't do that yet with DeVos because we haven't seen her policies in action. Because she hasn't yet upended federal policy, we want to take action this year to set ourselves up for success in opposing her next year. So, what I would like this NBI to do is have WEA keep a running record of her proposals and the Federal Department of Education, especially noting instances where DeVos and her staff are in opposition to WEA's continuing resolutions. This information will be shared with delegates at the 2018 RA for that body to determine next steps, upholding our resolutions to protect our students. So I feel pretty good about this, and I think I'm just about ready. I'm going to walk you through the form that you will be filling out. This form is available online. We will show you the path to get there shortly. So this was an NBI written in 2013. It has a title, it has the source, and the title is really what you as a member delegate wish to call it. The source is your name. There are ways to get other organizations to support you, but usually the source and your local association is all you need to submit. Now the next section is background. Now the background we haven't really discussed yet. The background is a rationale, it's a philosophy. So taking my example of an NBI asking WEA to document instances in which DeVos is contrary to our resolutions, I would think about what is the point of this. The point is truly to shine a light on the harm that she intends to do to our schools and to our students. So to that end, I would first reference the continuing resolutions section that I believe my NBI relates to, which is section C5, and then I would quote a path of resistance that speaks to our members being informed and aware and able to create solidarity amongst ourselves to know what exactly we will oppose within DeVos's agenda.